So one of the implications of this ether physics that I talk about is a steady state universe. And that's quite a difficult thing to wrap your head around. It's mind-blowing, but if you can, you will see a very different idea about the universe and how it works. And that's what I want to talk about today. You see, of course, mostly now we believe in a Big Bang. The universe was created from a moment. But the question always arises, a very simple question, what was there before the Big Bang? Or who started the Big Bang? What was the first moment? Where did it come from? So you always have this problem, the chicken and the egg. So really, philosophically speaking, there's no answer to that. We need a better one. And the only other one is a steady state universe. A steady state universe means no beginning and no end. It never ends. And it never started. It was always here and it will always be here. So that is in itself something difficult to wrap your head around. There's no creation of time, as it were. Now, furthermore, the next question is, okay, we've been told it's a creation moment, a Big Bang, and then it's expanding. Now, if it's expanding, the next question always arises, well, what is it expanding into? Again, very simple, obvious question. But then they'll say, well, no, space itself is being created. Yeah, so you're creating a geometry by creating space. But what is that geometry and where is it appearing? What is it appearing in? It still goes back to the same question, chicken or the egg. So that means the universe must not only be steady state, but infinite. Infinite. And an infinite universe must be spherical. So the geometry must be a sphere. Now, of course, you cannot draw infinity. There's no way of having a geometry that really has infinity. But it must be spherical because infinity is equidistant in all directions from a point. So it must be, if I go off to infinity in any direction, it's going to be equidistant. Everywhere is infinity. That is a sphere. So a sphere is the best representation of an infinite universe. So that's what it must be. Now, it's interesting now, we're sort of getting the idea of the multiverse. You know, multiple different universes, infinite different universes. But that's not quite right, because it's really the opposite. There's only one universe, but that is infinite. You see, they're saying they're multiple or infinite finite universes. I'm saying no, there's only one infinite universe. And even now, modern physics, cosmology is saying that. The universe is always bigger and bigger. And some people are saying, well, it's probably infinite. They're saying it now. I've heard it. But philosophically, logically speaking, it's the only answer. And again, they'll say it in science, you've got fields. If you're going to have the concept of a field, here's a magnet. That's a field. It's got some effect. But the field, you can't see it. There's nothing there. And if you ask them, where does this field go? Well, I can feel it here, I can feel it here, but actually the field goes off to infinity. So once you've created a field, it goes off to infinity. Therefore, you've already got an infinite universe. This magnet all by itself has just created an infinite universe. If you're going to accept field theory, because that's what the field does. But it does. The universe must be infinite. It's the only philosophical answer. But we cannot wrap our head around that. And the other thing we get confused about, this is where the multiple universe comes in, has confused it all, is we think there's multiple universes with different laws of physics. No, there's only one universe and only one set of laws of physics. Only one. And there's only one way in which life works. Only one way, which is DNA. So all across the infinite universe, you're going to have life. But it's always going to be the same. Always DNA and cells. But you will have infinite variations. Variations on a theme. But again, they must follow a particular mathematics. It's the mathematics of the golden ratio, the most efficient mathematics. It's all about efficiency. So all life is going to be basically the same. What you see on Earth here, you're going to see everywhere. And in a steady state, infinite universe, that means life is also always here. Life was never created. It will never be destroyed. Life is always here. In fact, it is perfectly integrated with the universe. It is the universe. That's the way I'm saying it. So that's very interesting. It also means in an infinite universe, there's no evolution. There's no evolution, not the way we say it. A transmigration of species. Life emerges from nothing into little things, bigger things, bigger things. No, none of that. Can't be that. Because all life is going to be always here. It also means self-awareness, consciousness, conscious life is also always here. Always in a steady state universe. This is where it gets quite mind-blowing. Because that also means advanced, higher consciousness is also always here. There are always advanced civilizations in the universe. And it's an infinite universe. So we can't comprehend them all. But it doesn't matter because they're all basically the same. Doing the same thing, following the same rules. And what we see on Earth is basically some variation of that. Again, infinite variations, but they must follow the same mathematics. They all must have DNA. They've all got the same atoms. And they all follow the same energy. It's all the same energy. Now that also means, okay, what is evolution? Well, evolution really is the growth of consciousness. So we cannot comprehend an infinite universe. That's why this is mind-blowing. And we're finding it easier now to comprehend infinite number of different finite universes, the multiverse. We're starting to sort of understand that. But this one is still harder. One single universe that is infinite. None of these multi-dimensions. No, this is it. That's it. There's only two things. There's consciousness, the internal world, and then there's material reality. Three-dimensional time and space. But again, I'm just calling that the ether. And that space-time is really just a manifestation of the ether. And again, it's really material substance is the manifestation of the ether. And the after effect of that is space and time. Anyway, I digress. I've talked about that more in this series if you go back and listen to it. But the point I'm trying to make is it's all the same. So there's always advanced beings, but consciousness can grow. It can learn. That is evolution. So we can advance into a higher wisdom, a higher consciousness, get higher technology, for example. And that's why we can say, all right, there's always aliens. But they're still going to be basically humanoid, certain variations of humanoid. Then you've got ancient civilizations on this planet Earth. Yeah, no big deal. Of course, there were always advanced civilizations. And there were always primitive civilizations. They're always going to be existing, all at the same time. They're always going to be advanced, higher level consciousness. And there's also always going to be, lower level, simple consciousness. It's always here in a steady state universe. Everything is always here. Now, the other thing to notice, you see, the advancement of the soul or the consciousness is to expand and grow such that it will encompass the infinite universe. You see, in an infinite universe, you cannot travel everywhere. It goes on for infinity. But you can expand your consciousness into the universe, which is infinite, and have a moment of experience. You experience the infinite. So that is evolution, expanding into the infinite universe. There, it is the unconscious mind, you could call it. Beyond experience, beyond space and time. That is the totality of the universe, the ether. The ether, or if you like, you could call it, I don't know, the Brahmand, if you like the Hindu way of thinking about it. All those sort of ideas, loads of them. But it means that the universe in its totality is rest. It is balance. It is a perfect sphere, but it is infinite. So that is the ether, the totality, rest, balance, perfect geometry, but it's infinite. And remember, an infinite sphere must be perfect, if you think about it, because if I go off to infinity in every direction, infinity is always the same, always perfectly the same. So a sphere expands infinitely away from me in perfectly, every radius is identical. So it is a pristine, perfect sphere, an infinite universe. And when your mind expands into that, you have now touched the ultimate, that is the ether, the cosmos itself, the Wu Chi, if you like, the Tao. But inside that sphere, inside the universe, this infinite universe, there's movement. Everything is moving. And that is what we see. That is energy. Energy is the movement of this ether. It's the internal movements of the universe. And it's fluid. These are fluid. It's fluid dynamics. All happening in fluid. That's what the ether. That's the ether theory or the ether model. And I believe it's the correct one, or it's the best one. And I'm always trying to simplify what it is I'm talking about, because we should all be able to understand this. If the universe is consciousness, consciousness is the soul, that is me. I should be able to understand it. We should be able to experience it. It has to be like that. If that is consciousness, and again, that's what I'm saying. What is the universe made of? Is only one thing. The universe is made of this energy, consciousness, the ether. Well, I'm calling it consciousness. But when this consciousness moves, disturbs, interacts inside the infinite universe, now we have manifestation, the creation of energy, a turbulence, a movement, a vortex. And that's what the universe is. Pressure, fluid, vortexes, spirals moving, high pressure to low pressure. But it's quite a universal energy. So we can see it in all different ways. We see it in literal water, we see it in electricity, we see it in gravity, we see it in magnetic field, we see it in light, all different ways, but it still behaves like a fluid. Again, I've talked about quantum mechanics. They say it behaves like a particle, but they're not quite right. That's all I can say. The ether model is a better model. And it's just going to take some time for everyone to talk about this and work this out and understand it. And then, that will come back. Because if this ether model of the universe is the real one or the best one, it has to come back. We're going to have to work it out. So it will happen. And if it isn't, well, it will collapse. But I don't think it will collapse. It's, again, once you understand the concept of a steady state universe, the laws of the universe are only one. The ancients knew them, the people in the future will know them, but also means we now here can know them. All of us have access to the secrets of the universe. We all can understand it. It must be so, because the universe is consciousness. And what are we? We are singularities of consciousness. So we are that universe that we are trying to understand. We just go in. But we have to think about it and work out. What we're trying to work out is, how does this physical universe manifest? What are the mechanisms for it? I hope this little talk made sense. I just wanted to point this out. Steady state universe, very interesting. It changes everything. So have a think about it. And do let me know any questions or comments below. So again, thank you so much for your time listening to me, and I hope to see you in any of these other videos here.